If there's one thing a lot of people love to do in Maine, or really any place with a coastline for that matter, it's visit lighthouses. One of those lighthouse fans is Maine writer Anna Crowley-Redding, whose new book for children is called Courage Like Kate.
It's the true story of Kate Moore, who began helping to tend a lighthouse on Fairweather Island on the Connecticut shore in 1817. When she arrived on the island with her father, Kate was only 5 years old and quickly began leading a most unusual life. Her father was the lighthouse keeper. As a little girl, what kind of a daily life did she lead?
Oh my gosh, it was so busy. So she was learning how to grow the gardens, shear the sheep, collect rainwater for drinking. So all the things that were required really to survive.
Even from that age, from age 5, she would help out her father occasionally in his duties of tending the lighthouse. He was the official lighthouse keeper.
Yes, and so in this particular case, the keeper's house and the tower were a distance apart. And so she would learn to go out on the walkway, it was very rickety, and learn how to light the lamps and to clean the glass from the soot overnight, all those little particulars of keeping that light burning during the night.
And then when she was 12 years old, her father's health began to go downhill, and there was sort of a reversal of roles, and she really, for all practical purposes, took on the duties of being the lighthouse keeper.
It's so hard to imagine a 12-year-old girl taking that on, but she did. And that's not just taking care of the light and all the daily duties, but also answering the cry for help from the sea.
There would be sailors who would run aground, get into trouble of some type in storms off the lighthouse. How many over the course of her time on Fairweather Island did she rescue?
There are 23 sailors that we know of that she rescued from the sea and tended them back to health as well. But I am sure that there are countless others as well.
She started at age 12, taking care of all the lighthouse duties, and this continued until her father died. She did it for how long until her father's death?
She did it until her 50s, until her father died. And she's nursing her father all this time too.
When her father died, she did something quite extraordinary for a woman back in 1871. What did she do?
She applied for the job she'd been doing for decades. She applied for the job and waited to hear whether or not she would be appointed lighthouse keeper.
And how did it come out?
She got the job.
I knew that it was going to have a good ending. This was news. This was a significant event.
Yes. So first of all, it was news that a woman was saving lives. And so the men that she saved would go back and tell this story of being at death's door in the middle of the sea, and this woman pulls them to safety. And so the headlines would say, you know, heart of a lion, this hero. It was really shocking to people that a woman was capable of such bravery.
The tasks that she carried out entailed a lot of physical work, carrying buckets of whale oil up the 33 steps to the top of the lighthouse. And then what would happen in particularly windy, gusty weather?
Well, she would go up those spiral steps, and then when she got to the top of that, there was a ladder hanging from the lantern room. So then she had to climb that up to get to into the lantern room. But on the windy nights, that glass, you can imagine, was not sealed the way it is today. The wind would come right through and snuff out the lights. So she would have to sit there all night long and keep relighting them because many nights there were 200 ships at sail right outside of her view.
I know that when you write children's books, you like to do two things. You like to tell a rousing tale, but you also like to have a story that has a message.
Yes.
And what's the message that you have in this one?
It's to have courage like Kate, because she was so courageous. And there were plenty of times when she wanted to give up, when she was frustrated, when the work was hard, when it was so dangerous, so lonely. But she kept going because she knew that people needed her.
When you were writing this book and needed some inspiration, would you leave the house, come down somewhere along the coastline here to one of the several lighthouses that are close to where you live and just gaze out?
A lot of times during storms, when it was safe to do so, I would go and stand at the water's edge and imagine getting out in a rickety rowboat and rowing out into the water to save people, and the courage that must have taken. And I have to tell you, I didn't feel any of it, so I just wrote about it. But I personally know for me the answer would be like, ooh.
Probably the same answer for me. Again, the name of Anna Crowley Redding's new book is Courage Like Kate.
The illustrations were done by Emily Sutton, who lives in York, England, that is. We have more information about the book in the 207 section of our News Center Maine website and app.